Last spring, we planted the exact same tomato variety in 4 identical raised beds. Same soil, same water, same sunlight. The only thing we changed was the spacing between plants. And by August, the difference was so dramatic that one bed outproduced the other 3 combined. I'm not talking about a slight edge here. I'm talking about triple the harvest from the same amount of space. And honestly, the method that won is not the one I expected. I've been growing food in my backyard for 11 years now, and for most of that time I just followed whatever the seed packet told me. You know the drill. Space tomatoes 24 to 36 inches apart. Peppers 18 inches. Lettuce 12. I never really questioned it. I figured, somebody smarter than me figured this out, so why argue with the back of the packet? But a few years ago I started noticing something. My neighbor Tom, retired guy, been gardening since before I was born. He crammed his plants so close together it made me anxious just looking at it. And every single year, his beds outproduced mine by a mile. His tomato plants looked like a jungle. Mine looked like, well, they looked neat and tidy and very well spaced and disappointingly average. So I started asking questions. I started reading. And what I found genuinely surprised me. The spacing recommendations on most seed packets aren't optimized for maximum yield, in my experience. They're optimized for commercial row farming with tractor access and mechanical harvesting. That's a completely different context than a backyard raised bed. And that one realization, changed everything about how I plan my garden. Here's the thing about plant spacing. Almost nobody agrees on what's actually correct. Go online and ask 10 gardeners how far apart to plant tomatoes, and you'll get 12 different answers. Some people swear by the wide spacing conventional method. They say each plant needs maximum airflow, maximum root space, maximum everything. And on the surface, that sounds logical. More room equals more growth, right? But then you've got the intensive gardening crowd, the square-foot gardening folks. They're planting things much closer together and claiming they get more food per square foot. And then there's the bio-intensive method, which goes even tighter and sounds almost reckless if you're used to traditional spacing. So who's right? The problem is, most of us just pick one approach and never actually compare. We plant our garden, we get some tomatoes, we say good enough. But good enough might be leaving 2/3 of your potential harvest on the table. Think about that for a second. If you have 4 raised beds and you're using the wrong spacing method, you could be growing the same amount of food in just 1 or 2 beds. That's real space you're wasting. Real money. Real food you're not putting on your table. And it goes deeper than that. When you don't maximize your growing space, you end up depending more on the grocery store, where prices just keep climbing. I looked at my receipts from last summer, and I was still spending over $60 a week on produce, even with a productive garden. That's over $3,000 a year, on top of the time and money I was already putting into my beds. Meanwhile, my neighbor Tom was practically feeding his whole street from the same sized plot I had. The difference wasn't his soil. It wasn't some magic fertilizer. It was spacing. Pure and simple. So last February, I decided to stop guessing and run an actual side-by-side test with 4 of the most popular spacing methods gardeners argue about online. I wanted real data, not opinions, not forum debates, data. The 4 methods I tested were conventional spacing following seed packet recommendations, square-foot gardening spacing based on Mel Bartholomew's classic grid system, bio-intensive spacing, which is roughly 60% of conventional distances in a staggered pattern, and what I call the canopy method, where you space plants just far enough that the leaf canopy closes over the soil completely by mid-season, but no tighter. That last one, the canopy method, came from an old-timer at my local garden club who'd been doing it quietly for decades. He said the goal is to let the plants shade out the soil entirely. No bare ground visible by July. I thought it sounded interesting, but, honestly, I expected the bio-intensive method to win. It gets all the attention in the self-sufficiency world right now. But I wanted to be fair about it. So I set up the test properly. Let me walk you through exactly how I set this up, because if you want to replicate it this season, the details matter. I built 4 raised beds, each one 4 feet wide by 8 feet long by 12 inches deep. Identical dimensions. I filled all 4 with the same soil mix, roughly 40% quality topsoil, 30% compost, hot and 30% perlite for drainage. I tested the pH in each bed, and they were all right around 6.5, which is ideal for tomatoes. For the variety, I chose Early Girl, nothing exotic. A reliable, well-known determinate tomato that most people can find at any nursery. I bought all the transplants from the same source on the same day, so they were the same age and size. Each seedling was about 8 inches tall, with 4 to 6 true leaves. Now here's how the spacing broke down across the 4 beds. Bed 1, conventional spacing. I planted 6 tomato plants spaced 24 inches apart in 2 rows, 12 inches from each edge. Plenty of room between them. This is what most people do, and what most seed packets recommend. Bed 2, square foot gardening. 1 plant per square foot. That gave me 32 plants in the same 4x8 bed. Now, most square foot gardening guides actually recommend 1 tomato per 4 square feet, which would only give you 8 plants. But a lot of people online push the 1 per square foot version, so I wanted to test the aggressive interpretation. Bed 3, bio-intensive spacing. I used a staggered hexagonal pattern with plants spaced about 15 inches apart in every direction. That gave me roughly 18 plants. The idea here is that staggering eliminates the wasted space you get with grid rows. Bed 4, the canopy method. This is where I had to do some math. The goal is to space plants so the mature leaf canopy just barely overlaps when fully grown. For early girl tomatoes, which typically spread about 18 to 20 inches wide, I spaced them 20 inches apart in a staggered pattern. That gave me roughly 14 plants. Every bed got the exact same treatment throughout the season. Same drip irrigation, delivering 1 inch of water per week. Same organic tomato fertilizer applied every 3 weeks, a 5-3-3 blend. Same pruning schedule. I removed suckers below the first flower cluster on all plants. Same mulch. 2 inches of straw applied in early June. Now here's where most people make a critical mistake when they try tighter spacing. They don't adjust their support system. If you're packing plants closer together, you absolutely need strong caging or staking. In beds 2, 3, and 4, I used heavy-gauge concrete reinforcing wire cages, the round ones about 5 feet tall. Not those flimsy cone-shaped things from the hardware store that collapse by July. Those won't cut it with tighter spacing. The plants lean on each other, and everything turns into a tangled mess. I also want to mention disease management, because this is the biggest fear people have about close spacing. They say, won't the plants get blight if they're too close? And it's a fair question. Here's what I did. I mulched immediately to prevent soil splash, which is the main way early blight spreads. I pruned the bottom 12 inches of foliage on every plant once they were established. And I watered at the base only, no overhead sprinkler. In my experience, those 3 steps matter far more than raw distance between plants when it comes to disease prevention. By late June, the differences between beds were already visible. Bed 1, the conventional spacing, looked like a catalog photo. Neat, tidy, lots of visible soil between plants. Bed 2, the aggressive square-foot bed, was a disaster. The plants were competing so hard for light that they were growing tall and spindly, yellowing leaves at the bottom. Some plants were clearly being shaded out by their neighbors. It was too tight, way too tight. Bed 3, bio-intensive, looked healthy but stressed. The plants were fine through June, but by mid-July they were starting to crowd. Airflow was noticeably reduced compared to beds 1 and 4. But bed 4, the canopy method, that's where things got interesting. By early July, the leaf canopy had closed over completely. You couldn't see an inch of bare soil. The bed looked like a solid green hedge of tomato foliage, and underneath, I pulled back the leaves to check. The soil was cool and moist even during a 95-degree week. The straw mulch plus the living canopy created this perfect microclimate at soil level. The plants weren't stressed at all. And here's a detail I didn't expect. Because the canopy shaded out the soil so completely, I had virtually 0 weeds in bed 4 after June. None. Beds 1 and 3 still needed occasional weeding. Bed 4, nothing. All right, here's where it gets really interesting. Harvest day. Well, harvest weeks, really. I tracked total yield from each bed over the full production window from late July through the first frost in early October. Bed 1, conventional spacing. 6 plants produced 41 pounds of tomatoes total. That works out to about 6.8 pounds per plant. Respectable. Normal. Bed 2, the overcrowded square-foot bed. 32 plants produced only 52 pounds total. Sounds like more than bed 1 until you do the math. That's 1.6 pounds per plant. Terrible. The plants just couldn't thrive at that density. More plants, but each one dramatically underperformed. And honestly, the fruit quality was poor. Smaller tomatoes, more cracking, more blossom end rot from the intense competition for calcium. Bed 3, bio-intensive, 18 plants gave me 68 pounds, about 3.8 pounds per plant. Better per square foot yield than conventional, but each individual plant was still underperforming compared to what early girls should produce. Try bed 4, the canopy method. 14 plants produced 123 pounds of tomatoes. I weighed it 3 times because I didn't believe it. That's 8.8 pounds per plant. Significantly more than even the conventional spacing. And the total yield, 123 pounds from a single 4x8 bed, was triple bed 1. Triple. The cost difference is staggering when you think about it. At roughly $3 a pound for decent tomatoes at the store, that single bed produced about $370 worth of tomatoes, compared to $120 from the conventional bed. Same soil, same water, same fertilizer, same sunlight. Just different spacing. But it's not just about weight. The fruit quality from bed 4 was the best of all 4 beds. Full-sized tomatoes, deep red, fewer cracks, less blossom end rot. The plants were healthy all season, and I attribute that to the microclimate effect. The closed canopy kept soil moisture consistent, reduced temperature swings at the root zone, and the moderate spacing still allowed enough airflow at the top of the plants to prevent fungal issues. The takeaway, in my experience, is that the sweet spot isn't as wide as conventional wisdom says, and it's nowhere near as tight as the aggressive square-foot approach. The The canopy method sits right in between. You're planting close enough to maximize your space and create that beneficial closed canopy, but not so close that plants compete and production crashes. So here's what I want you to do. This season, even if you don't want to overhaul your whole garden, pick one bed, just one, and try the canopy method. Look up the mature canopy width for whatever you're growing. Most seed companies list it, or you can find it with a quick search. Space your plants so the edges of their mature canopy will just barely touch. Use a staggered pattern, not straight rows. Mulch heavily. Water at the base, and keep track of your yield. Then come back here and tell me what you got. I want to hear your numbers. I want to know if you saw the same jump I did, or something different. Every climate and every soil is a little different, so your results are genuinely valuable. If you want to learn more about building the perfect raised bed soil mix, I've got a video on that. And if you're interested in extending your season so those extra tomatoes keep coming through November, I cover that in my frost protection guide as well. The spacing between your plants, it seems like such a small detail, but it might be the single biggest lever you have for increasing your harvest without spending another dime. No new products, no fancy amendments. You're just rethinking the distance between one plant and the next. That's real self-sufficiency, doing more with what you already have. And once you see the results, you're never going back to seed packet spacing again.